The Gallows is a found footage horror film, and it's about a student play from 1993 in which a kid was unfortunately killed. 20 years later, the school board has decided to do this play again, and one student involved with the play does not want to take part in it, but he has to because it's a mandatory class. He sneaks in with some of his friends one night to try to destroy the set and ruin the play so he doesn't have to do it. Then everyone gets inexplicably trapped in this school, and weird stuff starts happening that seems to have some sort of connection with that 1993 original play in which the kid was killed. And of course, they film all of it. Found footage horror at one point in time was an original concept. When the Blair Witch Project came out, tons of people were afraid. They thought it was real. A lot of people in my school legitimately thought that was a real movie when it came out. But ever since Paranormal Activity made so much money on such a tight budget, found footage is now an extremely popular thing with studios because they can look at something and say, hey, this script is in a contained area, a school. There's barely any characters in it. There's like 4 actors we have to hire. We don't really have to worry about lighting because all the electricity is going to be out in the school and they'll just use their flashlights and night vision. And we can probably make this movie for like $100 and make a lot of money back because that's what these studios are doing nowadays. They don't always seem to look so closely at that script anymore as they do the bank return. That being said, The Gallows is better in some ways than some found footage horror films I've seen recently. In particular, the location. When I was in 5th grade, I wrote a story called Midnight Tag. It was about a group of kids who got trapped in a school and were followed around by a hooded, cloaked figure that continued to mess with them, which is exactly what happens in this movie. So if I had released my writings from 5th grade to the public, I would be suing somebody right now, but I didn't. So there's 2 things to say about that. Number 1, the location is awesome. It's by far the best part of this movie. They accomplished a lot of chilling atmosphere with this deserted school in the middle of the night. It really was effective, and I liked that because when I was in 5th grade, I wrote a very similar story, so I obviously liked the location and the use of that location. Number 2, I wrote it in 5th grade. The writing in this movie is atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious. The twist at the end of the film, I won't spoil it for you, but it's kind of interesting when you first see it, and then when you start to think about it, you realize that the entire film doesn't make sense now. It's one of those twists where when you first see it, you're like, oh, that's kind of neat, that's interesting. Wait a second. That doesn't make any sense! In retrospect, when you think about the entire film you just saw after experiencing the ending, nothing fits anymore. There are so many plot holes. Let's talk a little bit about the characters. Characters? Fuck! The movie starts out with the most insufferable, rude, annoying asshole holding the camera. For 30 minutes, he follows students around making fun of them. He throws footballs at unpopular kids. He zooms in on girls and talks about how ugly they are. There's a point where funny and insulting meet. You have to always be in that gray area in the middle. This guy launches over to just being a dickbag, and I understand that was the point of the filmmakers. They were introducing you to the most rude person on planet Earth, and you just want this person to go away, and they want you to feel that way so that when the shit goes down, you're like, yeah, get that guy, he's annoying. It just went on and on and on. I was like, this is the exact kind of kid I hated when I was in school. I don't want to be in the company of this douchebag anymore. Get him out of here. Also, there is not a school board on Earth that would hold the same play again that a child accidentally died while performing before. Now, besides the location being really effective, the other idea this film had that was really clever, I liked, was they have 2 kids. They both have 2 cameras, and they will switch back and forth between these cameras to let you know things that happened while the kids separate. That was a really interesting idea, and I really thought that added something to the movie because, like, one kid would be separated, and you hear all these noises, you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening to him? You don't find out until a few minutes later when they then cut to that kid's camera. You realize it's about 5 minutes in the past from what you've already witnessed, and you get to see what happened to him, all those noises, you see that play out. That's a really good idea, and that's by far the best thing that Gallows has to offer in regards to a filmmaking perspective. The majority of this movie is awaiting a gigantic jump scare, loud noise sound effect. There is no actual tension that's built up in this film. It's what I talked about in my video, the problem with horror movies today. Let's talk about a movie called Rear Window, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. One of the best films ever made. Real tension was developed throughout this movie because you're watching someone witness someone across the street and you're like, something's about to happen, and you just feel that sense throughout the entire film that something really terrible is going to happen. And as it builds and builds, you just feel the weight, the heat, the tension of that situation. Nowadays, with these cheaply made horror films, there is no actual tension developed in the film. The only tension you have is awaiting that extremely loud noise that's going to pierce through your ears in 7.1 Dolby Digital surround sound. That's not scary. It's a loud noise. And 75% of the time in this film, it's one of their friends scaring them, or they shut a door really loudly, or somebody walked in a room really fast. All my thoughts on this were confirmed to me when I heard the girl sitting behind me whisper to her friend, "Here it comes," when there was an obvious noise about to happen, when everything goes silent for a second and you know they're about to play some loud music. These modern horror films nowadays, they have a clever idea. This pass with this play, it's creepy, you know, you're in this school, it's deserted, that is creepy, you're finding these strange things everywhere. Creepy, 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 that works, the atmosphere in the movie works. But this found footage, shaky cam stuff with flashlights and high school kids making asshole douchebag comments every other second doesn't work. It annoys the shit out of you, and the jump scare element needs to stop. If you want to use a jump scare in a movie, do it like the Insidious films. Have those loud noises actually accompanying something that is supposed to be startling. Have it be in an actual film that has a musical score, not a found footage film with no musical score that for some reason has these loud jump scare musical elements all of a sudden 50 times throughout the movie. I'm tired of the way horror films are directed nowadays, and this is a prime example of what I've been talking about for the past few years. I'm gonna give The Gallows a D+. Something I am really excited to tell you guys about, though, is that I'm going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. I've never been to a Comic-Con in my entire life. I've never been on a panel or part of a panel ever, but I get to go on two this time. I am so honored and so privileged. I am so excited. I'm going to be on the Masters of the Web panel with John Campea, Mark Ellis, John Schnepp, Gray Drake, Andy Signor, and my buddy Jeremy Johns. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also going to be on a panel with Screen Junkies doing a live movie fights episode. I really hope you guys come. It's going to be on Friday. Both of those are on Friday. You can find some information on my official Facebook. I posted about the Masters of the Web panel. If you want to go to that link, which I've left in the description below. I'm so excited, guys, and I hope to see some of you there and meet some of you guys. That's what I'm really excited about, is meeting some of you guys. So hopefully I can do that. Thank you so much, as always, for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.